Warning, this episode of Geeky Girls Night In contains spoilers from the movie Captain Marvel. If that is not your cup of tea, go ahead and click out. There's another episode that you can listen to that was supposed to be posted last week, but didn't get posted. Want to know why? I don't know why. I got a life too. No, in actuality, things just kind of got busy and I didn't get a chance to post it. Either way, sit back, relax, enjoy, and listen. If not, go ahead and click out and listen to the other episode. As a matter of fact, you can just listen to both. They both have different things in them. So, bye. So I'm recording now. All right, everybody. Thank you for... Oh my God, what was that? Was that y'all? Okay. Woo! It's okay. Welcome back to Geeky Girls Night In. I'm Leslie. I'm your host. And this is a very special episode today. Today we will be talking about Captain Marvel, and I've got some very special people with me. I have my friend Emily, who also is learning how to play Dungeons and Dragons with me. Yes. We have Kim, one of the original co-creators of Geeky Girls Guide to Life. We, of course, have Miss Quinzel, whom we can't live without.
Hi, I'm Quinzel, and you're watching Disney Channel.
And we have Mistress McGogglepoos, otherwise known as Mecca, who started out as Kim's boss, and I don't even know how that ended up happening, but like she was one of the second people I called after I had my child. So funny how things work out, isn't it?
It was amazing. I still talk about that. That girl is going to run the world. Like I'm so ready for her.
That baby is mean. She's so mean.
She is not. I am here for all her shady. She's Shady McGee. Like when she was like, we's not going to watch Little Mermaid if you're going to cry, because yesterday was too much with Cars 3. I was like, I love this child.
And then, like, she got mad at me because I was like, okay, so I cried at Cars 3, but you were scared of the evil mermaid Barbie in the Barbie movie. So, who's the punk now? And then she cried and I felt bad.
Right.
Eris, you're watching the movie about Eris and the mermaid.
Yes.
We've watched every one of those Barbie movies at least 3 or 4 times.
Well, see, it's kind of hard to get her to watch something else. Like, she finds something and she sticks with it. 2 years ago, it was Little Einsteins. If we tried to switch it from anything but Little Einsteins, there would be tears. Now, it's a show on Netflix called Super Wings. And if you turn on anything but Super Wings, there's tears.
Yes.
Any cartoon other than Super Wings, because like she's more than content to let her father watch CNN all day. And whenever she sees Donald Trump, is that the bad man? Is that the bad man? That's
amazing.
Yeah,
she is practicing for world domination. I'm telling you, I am here for all of Evelyn. I'm here for her.
Can I submit Lily for a cabinet position?
Yes. She's kind of snarky herself too.
Oh no, she's brutal. She told me I look like a walking marshmallow the other day.
Oh,
so we were watching Big Hero 6, and she was like, "You're like Baymax." Oh, thanks, baby. Thank you.
I have you
so good.
I have you beat because Kim's nephew, because I don't claim his ass, we were in the movies. And because he's shady as fuck, and then she says it's my fault, but I'm like, no, he has his own level. So he was 6 years old. I think he was 6 when it came out, and we were watching a movie. And prior to the last 5 years, there were basically 4 plus size stores, and they all had the same clothes. So no matter what state you were in, you either were at Lane Bryant or Avenue, or I don't even think, maybe a little bit of Torrid and like Ashley Stewart, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, and they all kind of kept to the same pattern. So even if it wasn't the exact same shirt, it was the same material. So you get the point. Right. There was a character who was ugly, huge, and fat on screen wearing a shirt that was pretty spot on to the shirt I had from Lane Bryant. And my son, in all of his glory, pointed up at the screen and said, "Oh my God, Mama, it's you!" And the entire theater fell out laughing.
Oh no!
It was Rasputia.
Oh no!
I was gonna say.
Oh no!
I was like, I hate you forever. Like, you're not supposed to hate your kid, but I was like, I hate you right now. Because everyone was laughing, and I'm chocolate, and I was bigger at the time, and it's Rasputia. I was like,
my feelings are hurt on your behalf.
Yes. So, but he wants to run for president. So really, the shady children were going to run the world. So,
yes.
Oh my gosh. So that was our children and nephews and nieces. So what are you guys drinking on today? Let's start with you, Mecca. What you got?
I'm a Circle K fiend, I don't know if y'all have Circle K. It's like the Wawa of the West Coast.
Okay.
And Circle K has this new drink that's like goji berry blast. Super good. So that's what I'm drinking.
Very cool. Emily?
I am drinking a can of fizzy sangria out of a Star Wars mug. It isn't heated up at the moment, but when you heat up this particular mug, it's the view screen of the Millennium Falcon and the hyperspace lines appear, and I love it so much, and I use it every day.
Very cool. Kim?
So I am totally adulting today, and I'm going with Jack and Coke because that's the kind of person I am now since moving to Vegas. But in the spirit of the podcast today, I am drinking it out of my Captain Marvel tumbler.
Hooray!
Yes.
Hooray! And Quinzel?
I'm actually drinking right now. Can you hear me? What's going on? I literally just came off a con. And so there's been like a lot of like concerts and loud noises, and I'm kind of like, my ears are still ringing, and I'm like, was that a sound? Was that not a sound? Did I make a sound? What's going on? Anyway, relevant to the conversation, because since coming off con, I have been drinking nothing but Dayquil and White Boy Tears.
Oh, okay.
But currently to hydrate, I have in my Bitches Be Pinnin' mug, it has a Pinterest logo on it. I have it filled with some Sutter Home Moscato. So I think this is a perfect like after con drink because I needed to rehydrate those White Boy Tears.
Very cool. Very cool.
That is epic.
And myself, I have got my annual, it's spring, it's 70 degrees one day and 42 the next. Is it a sinus infection? No, it's bronchitis. So on that, I am drinking lemon ginger herbal tea because that's all I chug when I'm sick. And I have my lovely Flower Fairy mug that I got from Gen Con last year that you will have to pry from my cold, dead hands. It's so pretty. Up until I get their octopus mug that they make. So it's got octopus tentacles on it. I'm trying to get one.
Is this from Druid Tea?
Yes.
They're amazing.
Yes. All right, let's get into why we're here. Captain Marvel. So how many times did everybody go see it? Myself, I went once. I know Emily went once.
I went twice.
Okay.
I went 3.
Quinzel.
You lucky bastards. I've only been once.
All right. So before you went, what were you guys expecting?
Well, since I dang near live with Captain Marvel herself, aka Kim Knight, I have had the thorough dictation downloaded to me of all things Captain Marvel. And because someone cloned her and made it into a 6'5" black man who is apparently my boyfriend, who also loves Captain Marvel, anything that she has forgotten or I just didn't pay attention to, he has filled in. So I felt fully educated walking in.
Very cool. Kim, go ahead, Emily.
Sorry. I was going to say, I knew some of kind of her comic lore, and I was just really interested to see how they kind of portrayed her in a more current era. I loved that the movie was in the 90s. It was very throwback to my formative years. And I really loved that particular setting, that it was a new movie that came out. It was like the 21st MCU movie, but it was the first movie that we really saw a lot of the 1990s through.
Yeah. Kim?
I was like, do you want me to go now or last? Because this could be a minute, but no. I mean, honestly, I've been a fan of Carol Danvers back in her Ms. Marvel days. I mean, comic-wise, ever since, like, that's part of the reason why I like Rogue. I like the Rogue storyline from X-Men, but I knew her past and her history is a little convoluted. There's been a lot of things in there that aren't really appropriate in this time and age. So I pretty much knew they were going to completely retcon her origin story, but they've been kind of doing that with the MCU too. So I was going in there expecting a lot of changes, but hopefully for the better, and at least if they stayed to the core, I was happy. And that is exactly what I got. I still got Carol at the end of the day, and that's all I cared about.
Very cool. Quinzel?
Oh, I ain't know shit in the beginning from any of the comics at all. So I just went in trying to have a good time.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I was at. I knew bits and pieces, and I only knew bits and pieces from Kim. That's it. And so I went in, and, I would find out a little bit, and then it's kind of the same thing that happened with Hamilton. So I'd find out a little bit, and then I'd dig into the history of it. So, like, with Hamilton, and they talked about Charles Lee. So I started studying about Charles Lee. Turns out that he almost had George Washington's job, but he was stanky and he wanted to be paid. So they were like, no. So the same thing happened with Carol Danvers, except I don't think she was stinky, and I don't really know if she wanted to be paid. But
she was not throwing away her shot.
No. No, I don't think.
Sidebar, I didn't know what the hell Hamilton was. And a couple of people had mentioned it, and I was like, whatever. And then lo and behold, across my Facebook, there was a post of somebody who shall remain nameless, Leslie. He had pulled over on the side of the highway and was crying hysterically. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, what happened? Like, who is this Hamilton and what is going on? And then I went down a bunny trail, and like within a week, my entire family, like 40 people, were Hamilton heads.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Didn't know about it till I met you.
I'm okay with that.
Leslie, control your emotions.
I can't do it. I can't. And like now they're having the musical here in Indianapolis, but I didn't realize tickets were like that. I can't afford that. I'm like, it's Indianapolis. Y'all can't cut us a break. Y'all can't give us Midwest prices.
Nope.
But we are not here for Hamilton. I'm sorry. That can be another episode, though, if y'all want. We are here for Carol. And like I said, I didn't know anything about her. I learned a little bit about her. And Kim, you just mentioned Rogue. And there was a meme of, like, Carol staring at Rogue about something. And, like, I know that there's something there, but I couldn't find any information on it. So,
do you want a little elaboration?
Please.
So the Rogue from the movies is not the Rogue I know or love from the comics, but honestly, my Rogue has always been the 90s X-Men cartoon.
Right.
Oh my god, yes. Yeah. The best Rogue.
Yes. But, so like she can fly, she has super strength in there, and the reason she can do that is because she held on to Carol Danvers a little too long.
Oh.
And she completely stole her powers and put Carol Danvers in a coma, thus proceeding into the first time she had memory issues. She's had a few of those throughout her life, but
no,
kind of where that Rogue is now. And they've had a very interesting history since then. They've kind of dealt with it, but every once in a while, like they're cool with each other, but it's still kind of gray territory between them. But that's why, like, she's a huge part of that. But again, that's like an X-Men thing, and it's kind of probably why they didn't do it in the movie. But that's not my Rogue. My Rogue is X-Men cartoon Rogue. So
okay.
Yes.
So let's get started. First of all, did not know Jude Law was going to be a part of this. And just so you guys know, I went to see this movie with somebody that literally hates superhero movies. Like, cannot stand them talks constant shit about them. And when we got done, he was like, this was not bad. And then he left before the credits ended. So, so I figured that was high praise from somebody that, like, during Captain America Civil War, texted on his phone the entire time. So,
why would you torture yourself going with someone like that?
Because that's my husband.
Oh no! Oh no! Kim, we need to fly. We need to fly out there. We need to work on that.
Yeah,
I was gonna say this sounds like marriage to me.
Yeah, he don't do superhero movies. Like, we alternate on what we watch in the theater. So it was my turn to choose. And so I was like, I gotta see Captain Marvel because I gotta talk Captain Marvel by everybody. But okay, anyway, I didn't know that Jude Law was gonna be a part of this, and he was obnoxious from the jump to me. I know he was supposed to be her friend, as far as we knew from that. And I know that they're partners in crime and this, that, and the other, but he was just obnoxious the whole time to me. He wasn't a mentor. He was belittling her the whole time, it seemed to me. You guys?
Yes.
Yeah. That was weird.
Extremely patronizing. Yes.
But what I liked about that is, for me, it set it up from the jump that this was not going to be a love story, at least for them two. Now there's debate on whether or not there's a Goose and Carol love story. My children seem to think that was the love story because they were estranged and fell for each other in the end. I don't know. They're weird. But I'm glad that there was that tension between Jude Law's character and Carol's character, because I didn't want our superhero movie to have a love interest. I wanted young girls to be able to see that you can be strong and powerful and vulnerable, and there not be a man that is a love interest a part of it. So I actually love that dynamic.
That's cool. Anybody else?
He was a dick.
Yeah. Yes, he was. And his eyes creeped me out. And the only thing that my husband said about him was, like, his hairline's receding. And I'm just like, he's like, do you see that? His hairline's receding. Why are you not watching the movie? Why are you watching Jude Law's hairline?
I'm actually really cool with that observation, because it's like every time you make a comment about her emotions, your hairline just takes another step back. And I like that.
It did. It truly did. Oh my gosh. And Mecca, what you were saying about there was kind of a love story, but it was between her and, was the woman's name Maria?
Yeah, Maria was Maria the mom, or was Monica the mom?
Maria's the mom.
Okay.
I got
Maria's the
IMDb
mom.
pulled up right now.
Okay.
Thank you. So, but yeah, like, there was a love story between Carol and Maria, and that made me so happy, and it was so cute. I love the flashbacks of them.
Yes.
It kind of reminded me of Adventures in Kokomo with Kim and then the other Kim. And all of the stupid shit that we have done.
Yes.
Oh, I've heard some stories.
Yeah.
But I put it this way: there was like no dicks allowed, right? So even if there was a beautiful love friendship, it was just not a guy. And I just want my daughter, your daughter, to grow up and see that there are other types of valuable friendships like that are powerful and meaningful. And your life as a woman, a powerful woman who's going to kick ass and change the world, doesn't have to be centered around a man. Not that there's anything wrong with men. I have great men.
No, I agree.
But I
with
want
that.
girls to see that they're not.
And I did appreciate that too, because even as great and as fantastic as Wonder Woman was, you did have that in there, and that surprised me a little. I still loved it, but I'm like, I totally appreciate that they didn't take that route with this one.
Preach.
Yes. Yeah.
I disagree. I think everything's wrong with men.
Oh my god.
That's a whole nother podcast, honey. That's a whole nother podcast.
That reminds me of, like, the Babysitters Club, like the Little Sisters book, when Karen hated all the boys and, like, sent her boyfriend a hunk of mud.
I'm Karen.
And you don't want to be Karen, because she terrorized her witchy neighbor Morbid Destiny. Leave Morbid Destiny alone.
What is going on?
Oh
Okay.
my god, my life is just going back to the
No, see, I'm holding back because we're going to do Babysitter's Club, I'm sure. The second that it comes out on Netflix, we're going to have to all reconvene, get in our jammies, and talk about Babysitter's Club. We will get there.
You don't understand. Like every book, like every single book. Like, the whole reason Scholastic made it through the 80s was my mother's income and Babysitter's Club books. It's happening.
All of them.
Oh my god. Okay,
Sorry.
so
Carol Danvers.
Control your emotions, guys.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about Fury and Coulson. So
that was a love story.
That was a love story.
So
it was though.
Real quick, I'm gonna say this. I have a thing for Coulson.
I have the biggest thing for Clark Gregg. Dear God.
But like CGI young Coulson, I do not have a thing for.
The hairline's too much for you.
It's way too much. Just let it go, baby. Let it go. Oh my god.
Well, Leslie, you'll be very, very jealous to hear he's one of the ops I'm doing at C2E2 this weekend. Next weekend.
Oh, so
yes.
Jealous.
Yeah.
Tell him I said hi.
I will send you the pictures.
Okay. Be like, Leslie said hi. It's gonna be like, who?
Who the hell's Leslie?
Don't worry about it.
So Coulson has that. There's something like pure and endearing and everlasting about his character.
Yes.
That just makes you want to fall in love and hug and feed him like McGriddles all day. Like, he's amazing.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I agree with that to a point. There's a point in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where he just gets furious. So, like, in the earlier stages of the MCU, Fury he's got big hair because it's full of secrets. And that's where we're at with Coulson. Like, he's keeping all these secrets and he's devious and he's like orchestrating things. So he's no longer the sweet, I want to feed McGriddles to him. He's more of he's going to chain me up and I might like it.
Okay. I need to go watch that season. Okay.
That's how I feel about him. But yeah, they were a true bromance and I dig it. And I'm wondering what in him, when, Fury came through the door and he saw him and he was like, nope, I don't see anything. What made him stop? Because he was brand new.
Yeah.
He was brand new. So what did he see in Fury that made him know that this man knows what he's doing? I need to let him go.
Penis.
Stop.
Okay.
You know what? I think that he's always been a good judge of character.
Maybe, yeah.
Kim, is there anything in the MCU or in the actual comic universe that explains Coulson's undying love?
Coulson's kind of new because of the MCU.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I really think he's always been on point for character assessment of anything, or even how he assesses a situation. So we've known that even going in, like if you've watched anything from either Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the various early Phase 1 Marvel movies, since I'm still trying to figure out when is anybody going to tell Captain America, Thor, and whatever that Coulson's still alive.
I know!
I still have this very secret hope that, like, Coulson rides in with Quake and with a couple of the other characters and just decimates Thanos and is like, what up? I've just been doing my own thing for the last 5 years at this point.
I'm totally with you, because I thought that was always the intent to some level, was they could be pulled in at any time.
Yes.
But I think because they were trying to, honestly, from a storyline perspective, they were trying to drive the story and talk about instincts, which she had been repeatedly beat into her head that her instincts are shit and she needs to think with her head.
Yeah.
And I think that was just what that was. But there's always been something about him and Fury, and it's hard because you don't really see that much between him and Fury to really understand if they have that kind of level. All we know is that he's the new guy. He made a call, probably because they weren't threatening, and the only thing I can think of is he told Carol to back off. Carol was going to, shoot him.
Right.
So maybe that was the flag. He said, you know what, wait a minute, this might not be 100%. Plus,
So there are
down in like a short time period where all of a sudden your protocol has changed magnificently.
So, good news for us, real quick, before we continue on. We're using an app called Zoom. And after 40 minutes, we were going to have to stop and then restart. Zoom just sent me a message and said they'd give me a gift, and they removed the time limit.
Yeah, they just gave us all a pop-up, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so we can keep it moving, y'all. Okay.
So
That was not a good idea.
I know.
So speaking of long-winded nerds, I turned on, what trailer dropped Friday? I forgot.
Endgame.
Thank you. So the Endgame trailer dropped, and I watched it like 3 times back to back, and I have a point. And because I was talking to my boyfriend at the time, it just kept going. And because, it's YouTube, so they're like, we'll find you other stuff. You seem like a nerd. And the next couple of videos played in the background. And I was like, oh, okay, those are cool. And then some amazing, like Jesus himself created nerd put together a 2-hour dissertation on all of the sub relationships in the Marvel Cinematic Universe heading into Endgame, and they covered Coulson and Nick Fury like in depth ways that like I didn't even know like were a thing. It was 2.5 hours.
Make sure you send that my way, because I'll put that in the show notes.
Yes, same thing.
Wait, and we sat there and like I listened to it, and he watched it. He was like, I didn't even know all of this stuff. I was like, me either.
Right? Oh my God.
I was like, God bless the nerds, because it was 2.5 hours, and the Endgame trailer had just dropped, and it had Captain Marvel and Endgame trailer pieces added to it. I was like, this is dedication on a level that I just need to work on.
So speaking of that trailer, can I tell y'all that I got a little thrill when you saw Thor and he had his hand out reaching for the hammer, and then like it came to him, and then Carol gave that smirk.
Like, really? That's all you got?
It was just the tiniest smirk, and I didn't understand if it was a "how you doing" smirk or is that all you got smirk. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
I'm team is that all you've got smirk.
It is.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's where that was coming. He was testing her. And she passed her test.
Right.
I'm different. I definitely thought he was going in for a hug, and then when it was just the hammer, she was like, oh, thank God.
Oh.
Oh no, it was a total Beyonce sending me a drink ain't appeasing. Come harder. That's what Carol was like. I've seen aliens and humans, and you're not. You're neither. So you're a god. Show me something better.
There's currently a kind of Tumblr meme going around that Thor's trying to hook up Valkyrie and Carol. That he takes his 2 wonderful space lesbians and hooks them up, and that's currently like the it's all over the Captain Marvel tag on Tumblr. If you wander that way.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my goodness.
Captain Marvel
and Valkyrie.
Yes.
Into the rabbit hole we go.
Yes. Yeah.
God, they would tear up some shit together.
Right? I'm sorry, I derailed us, but yeah.
So, and another thing. So this kind of brings in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I got excited for a minute, and I explained this to my husband, and he doesn't watch any of it. Like I said, he hates superhero stuff. And he just looked at me blankly. But at first I got excited when they were autopsying that guy, because I thought that was the alien that they had gotten the blood for Coulson from, but then I realized no, it would have been one of the Kree people,
right?
Because of blue. Yes. So are we going to ever find out who that alien actually is?
That was just one of the landing party that came down with Talos. So he came down with like 3 or 4 other scrolls, and he sent them all off to try and distract Carol, and that was one of the ones. He was the one that was in the car posing as Coulson, right?
Right, but I think Leslie's asking who gave Coulson blood.
Yeah, the blue blood, not
okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no, just because with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and knowing that there's Inhumans, the Kree have been on and off our planet in that storyline
Right.
a lot. So yeah, I don't think we will ever find out exactly who that is, and I think they're kind of over that specific detail of that story.
Yeah.
That show right now, especially with Endgame and everything else happening, because I know that's going to have a dramatic impact on that show. So I have no idea what's going on with that right now. So,
and it's always cool to see how the MCU affects the show.
Yes.
So that'll be
good.
Yeah,
but I can't go in the reverse order. Like, I can't go watch all the episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. leading into Endgame. Like, I already told Kim that we're hunkering down 5:00 Friday night. We're doing a 72 hour all 21 movies leading into like Endgame.
When does Endgame come out? Because
April 26. And I done told her ass that, we can spread it out. We got some stuff.
Like, this is fucking war, okay? Like, you need to understand. No.
So, like,
we have to know.
I'm trying to figure out if I can fly out to y'all to see Endgame, but I don't think I can because it's too close to my cruise.
We could figure this out. We got like couches and beds.
Yeah.
We could figure this out. And let me tell you how serious Endgame is. And I know we're here to talk about Carol and she's worthy, but we have the VIP movie box reserved because I can't have. So let me explain to you what happened. I am a huge Twilight fan. I don't give a shit. I love the books and the movies. I don't care. And the second part of Breaking Dawn, there was a heifer who was talking on her cell phone and being rude and talking to the movie, and she ruined the first time I saw it. And I saw it 3 times after that, and so I was able to get my chi back, but she ruined it. I cannot have somebody like that ruin Endgame for me. So I called up mom and was like, we need the VIP box. I'm not doing this. She called her host. Her host was like, we got you reserved. So we are seeing it Thursday. It comes out Friday. We're seeing it Thursday, 7 p.m. in our own VIP booth.
Oh my god.
Very nice.
So bring your ass to Vegas because this is how we do things. We got couches and beds. You can sleep somewhere.
Let me
my place. It's next to the casino we're going to. So.
Right. Let me see what I can do because I fly for free now. So yeah. Okay. Let me try and get that figured.
This is the Kim cooks. So I feel like we just get you housing and food. Kim, I'll buy you some groceries and Leslie's in Vegas. There's no.
We have to sort that out. But real quick, let's roll back real quick because the whole Twilight situation. Did Kim tell you that we went and saw the first Twilight together and I almost got us thrown out?
Do you talk during movies?
No,
she cries.
Oh, I was gonna say your ass can't come. Like,
no, that's not what happened.
So what?
Almost all got us all kicked out. Like,
so what happened was, I don't know if you remember from the first one. He was like, I'm a monster. And then he lifts up his shirt to show that he's sparkly. And at that point in 2009, the CGI wasn't where it needed to be.
No, his sparkles in 20, yeah.
Right.
2009 sparkles wasn't hidden.
Right. And so, like, I screamed out, what the and just started laughing. Like, you could hear me throughout the entire theater. And I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I can't help it. It's so bad. So
he was supposed to shine like diamonds. Riri shine like diamonds, and his ass wasn't even cubics or corneas. He was glitter dust from Hobby Lobby. I know.
But by the last one, they got it together.
They did. Last one, he was
very sparkly. Everybody was sparkly as they're supposed to be. But that
I think he upgraded to like Claire's body glitter.
Yes.
Well, you gotta be real careful. That's got asbestos in it.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
He's fine. He's Edward Cullen. I mean,
yeah. Well,
that was a bad trip anyway because like we went at a late show, which we found out very quickly was not the ideal for us to be going to because there was a bunch of, which I get it, we're adults and it was made for teens and tweens, but like they would laugh every time like you would mention like if you said the word condom, they would be like ha, and we were like we're going to the matinees. Kids ain't gonna be up on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. We're going to matinees, and that's what we did.
Oh my god, it was so funny. Oh, It was it was so bad. I was like, where's his sparkle? There's no sparkle. It's just a pale ass tummy. Oh well. But yeah, that. And also, I read Twilight fan fiction. That's pretty much the only fan fiction I read. So.
Yes, and sidebar, I'm really upset because in my junk closet, I thought it was in the front, but it's in the back. I have an Edward Sparkly doll. I was going to pull it out and show it to you. But anyways, back to Carol.
Yes. Back to Carol. So I did a little bit of reading. Like I said, I went down a hole and I found out that we may have been introduced to the next Captain Marvel as well.
Yeah, Monica.
Yes. And
the baby.
Yes, the baby. And first of all, she's a doll. She
Absolute
is
doll.
A little dumpling.
She's super cute.
And Black Twitter, I wanted to fight them because I think it was you that showed me, Quinzel.
Yeah.
The Just For Me perm box. And they were like, if this was really in the 90s, she would have had one of these. And like, I could immediately name off like 4 like light-skinned 90s characters that had the curly hair. So if you had a certain type of curly hair in the 90s, you didn't have a relaxer. You had like Hillary Banks. There was one.
Not just Hillary Banks. It wasn't Hanging with Mr. Cooper. What was the school one with Elizabeth or Banks? The
Saved by the Bell?
Saved by the Bell. Jesus, I couldn't get.
Yeah,
No.
Lisa Turtle.
No, not Lisa Turtle. It's not that one. It's God.
Lisa 2.0.
Are you talking about the Steve Harvey show?
What's it? No.
When he's in the school?
I don't know if that's the words.
No, but I'm going to figure it out.
All right.
And we'll get back to you. We'll add that to the comments of the thing. That's not what I'm thinking of. It was Head of the Class. That's it. What was the curly-haired black girl in Head of the Class?
Oh, that's old time. Okay.
Mike Tyson's ex-wife.
Yes.
Robin Gibbons.
Yes, and she had another friend with her who was lighter than her because Robin was the more brown skin, and there was the lighter skin one with the curly hair. I was like, both of them had the curly hair. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, you only saw that post because when I retweeted it, because they had the picture of the Just For Me perm, and I was like, I can smell this picture.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Smells like cream and burn and Easter morning and disappointment.
But like her mom though, her mom had that straight 90s. I just got my relaxer that my mama put in my head, and she just bumped the ends of my hair.
Girl, that her mom, like Maria's hair was like legit. Like that was legit 90s. That was we didn't have these flat irons. All you newfangled children with these flat irons and your hair is silky to your head, we didn't have that.
No.
Okay? You had press and comb, blue magic or blue crown, grease, and you got your ends bumped.
Yep.
That's the hair she had. Yes. That was accurate.
Anything else had you looking, quote, fast, end quote.
Oh.
You couldn't have your hair like silky floaty like that. That's adult shit.
No. The only thing that little Monica was missing was boppers. She should have had some boppers and barrettes in her hair. Yeah. But they didn't do that. But that's okay. But I don't think from a characterization perspective, they're going to make her the next Captain Marvel. Kim, you and I were talking about this there. And the 2.5 hour segment that I'm going to send you all talked about that they're probably going to have her go by one of her other sidekick names. They're not going to.
Well, she's not. Let's not demote her to sidekick. She's a lot bigger because I guess I am the historical comic guru of the chat today, but
she's the historical archive.
Ask a librarian.
Right. She once was named Captain Marvel, which is an interesting
story arc
conversation between her and Carol once Carol went to the Captain Marvel name and be like, you didn't even ask me if you could take that. It's hilarious because she has long given up that name. Like it's been a while, but she was rocking that name in the, I want to say early 80s, and because she was a part of the Avengers at that point, and I want to say she even led the Avengers during that time too, which is actually kind of cool. especially during that time frame. Like, that's actually a big deal.
Yeah.
But I just because Carol is Captain Marvel in the comics right now, and they're just, selling her like that, I don't think that she's going to be losing that name anytime soon. So I agree. They're probably going to go with whatever, because I think she might go by Photon, which is kind of a nice little nod to her mom's her call sign on her plane, because she was that name, but she might also go by Spectrum, which I think is her current name in the comics as of right now. So
Okay.
Do you think we're going to get Camilla Khan?
I hope so. They've been toying around with a TV show for her too.
That would be
which
great.
I think would be super awesome, because especially for teenagers and stuff, there's really not, outside of the CW, there's not that kind of audience. But I think they'll wait until Disney gets their platform first, because I don't think they're going to put that on ABC.
Yeah.
And I think that Disney's been doing a lot of experimentation. And I think that so Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and this is going to sound crazy, but I really think Frozen 2 is going to be like the third test of their model, because everything that's been Mega has been white male driven, right?
Mm-hmm.
For so long. And everybody has been preaching for the last 15, 20 years, probably longer than that. But I mean, where it's whole movements in cinema and in Hollywood, that if you give other stories that don't center around the greatness of the white man and center around, the other 98% of the earth, whether it's male, women, LGBT, whatever, if you center stories around them, you will still make the same type of money that you've made before. And I think Disney's been slowly but surely testing that. And I think when Black Panther broke records, they said, and I realized Captain Marvel was already semi in the works, but they're like, let's do these tests. And there's an interesting podcast that I listened to.
She was a test.
Yeah. There's an interesting podcast I was listening to that was talking about how this next upcoming Frozen 2, which I realize is going to do the same thing. And if they can get that's their proof of concept, then they'll be extremely open to more of these. I really think that a lot more of the female characters, female heroes, will have their own stories. And we are closing out chapter 3 with Endgame. And so we'll be in a position where they can rewrite where the MCU goes. Not saying don't write any more male stories by any means, but saying that they can add more to their universe by adding more. It doesn't have to be, just Captain Marvel as standalone. There's so many other stories that they need to tell.
Well, and in my opinion, the same people that are reading these comic books are going to go see the movie. So you already have a market in your comic books. Why would you think that would be any different for your movie?
Right.
And from a merchandising perspective, because look, we are leading the revolt about them fucking shoes. I'm pissed off that they didn't
Oh
make
my God, not the shoes.
we talking about them damn shoes, because I found it first.
Okay.
I was like, no. So,
and this is not the first time. This is the second time they've done that, specifically with Captain Marvel. They did it with the Vans campaign too. Same thing. They didn't anticipate the once. They didn't produce a lot.
Well, they did it with Black Panther, and then they got pissed off when non-authorized merchandisers popped up with other Black Panther stuff, and they were talking about how they were making money by the hundreds of thousands, and in some cases they were estimating millions. And I was like, Disney, take your little cry butt baby ass back to your marketing department and find out why you didn't do better. Because you could have gone to all of these artists and said, let's partner with you and let's build this brand out from a merchandising perspective. And you could have made $1 billion literally in merchandise in addition to the $1 billion you made in the film. And so I can say that just between Black Panther and Captain Marvel, I've seen a difference in merchandising. I've seen a lot more, but even still, it didn't show up until like 2 weeks before the film ended.
It's still a baby step. It's not even remotely there.
No.
But let's talk about that. Let's talk about merchandising and advertising and everything. And I think
go for it.
Talking about Black Panther is important, but I also think talking about Wonder Woman is very important in this conversation because Wonder Woman and how they anticipated Wonder Woman was a giant joke. It was awful.
Yeah.
There was barely any merchandise out. They were barely advertising anything for Wonder Woman. Like, even toys were hard to come by. There was nothing at all.
Oh, wow.
And based on what I had heard, So somebody can correct me if I'm wrong and write an angry letter. I accept that.
An angry tweet. Someone writes
Like,
letters.
listen, bitch. But what I had heard was DC kind of thought Wonder Woman as an afterthought. They didn't think it was going to do anything. They didn't think it was going to make a lot of money. They just needed to push the movie out so that they could move on with Justice League, because obviously they're introducing her. They have to have some kind of story for her. But as DC kind of has been known to do with this particular world that they're building, they do afterthoughts. And that goes to show even with their contracting, like with the director. They didn't do an extended contract for multiple films. It was a one and done, which dumb on their ass.
Yeah,
because now you got to pay me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But they really thought they were just going to get it done. They had no idea. And honestly, I felt like they let go of some of the reins on it because they didn't care, which allowed them to make a great movie. It actually allowed them to do what they wanted to do and make something great. So they took which probably worked in their favor, but not in the studio's favor, but it was an afterthought. I feel the same thing happened for Black Panther. Yeah, we had some stuff out there. We knew who he was from Civil War, but how many of us were looking for shirts and stuff to go wear to the premiere?
I had to get one made. Because I didn't find anything that was cute in my size in time.
Right. And then Disney put out angry words saying, that their branding is not being respected. You didn't respect it first and foremost when you didn't put product out. Product that represented everybody, all sizes, all shapes, all colors, I had friends who wanted to participate in showing up to Black Panther dressed as a fan, but being respectful that they couldn't show up in like kente cloth, right?
Right.
They were like, I'm not Black. I'm sure that would be some form of, disrespect, but I don't just want a shirt that's the Black Panther poster. Like, is there anything else that we can have? And I was like, that's a great question. Disney didn't
wasn't anything. Which okay, so we knew that was happening for Wonder Woman. That was kind of, but honestly, nobody really anticipated, even with ticket sales, how well that was going to go. Black Panther was different. They shattered their pre-ticket sales. They already knew how many people were going to be at least going to the first weekend.
Right.
Like, there was an audience there. That was ridiculous. And yes, we didn't have anything to wear. And I wore my rose dress so that I could be the petals for Mecca and her family.
She literally waved her dress, fanned her dress in front of us as we walked, and we were all dressed as African kings and queens walking, and it was awesome.
That is so great.
I wrote today and I accept it. But
I advertised for that on Craigslist, and
I was going to be there for you. If I was there, I would have done it. Wouldn't even blink.
I had 3 positive responses and 2 very racist, misspelled. It was so great.
It was awesome. I was like, you got somebody mad today.
Yes, I did. I have done my job.
Right.
You know what I'm pissed off as far as the merchandising goes? So I went into Target, right? And so right front and center in the little girl section is all of these Captain Marvel t-shirts and really cool clothes.
Right. Target. Say it again.
Yeah. Obviously, I do not wear a girl size 14. So I'm like, okay, we're doing Captain Marvel. I'm going over to the women's side. What do I see? Black pants, brown pants, jeans, black shirt. That's it. Not a stitch of Captain Marvel. My grown ass wants to wear Captain Marvel. I do not want to just be a child and wear Captain Marvel. Target fixed this.
Well, here's the messed up part. They actually do have adult stuff, but only online.
What?
Wait a minute.
Plus size, and they have regular. So FYI, but if you do want to send out your money, I respect that. I understand, because I have a problem with this movie.
So it must be the way they ordered, because the Target that was by my house, we literally walked in, and what I should have done is taken a picture of it.
Yes, please.
Because I was like, they have Captain Marvel stuff. It was like one little stand set up. Like, this is all you gonna get, grown ass people. And if we don't have your size, oh well. But that was it. But then other people went to Targets and couldn't find them. And I was like, okay, well, am I just tripping? And then I would hear somebody found like 2 racks of t-shirts in their Target. So it must have been about ordering hit and miss. And those stores just missed their opportunity.
I agree with that.
Yeah, to do it. So that may not have been just Target. That may have been store owners who have purchasing who just didn't think that adults were going to do it. And it's like, when will us nerds get our due respect that, like, if you fucking enjoyed it as a kid, then you would still want to participate and love it as an adult. You're not going to sit there and say, well, I'm too old and mature to. No, if this is something that brought you joy, that got you through hard times, that helped you to be a better person, to believe in, whatever it is, the heroes and good, vanquishes evil, why would you not want to participate in that as an adult in the same way that you did as a kid? That's crazy.
Right. No, I'll take that step I'll take that a step further, just stating that you don't even have to talk about what like transitioning from a child to an adult. They have enough damn receipts from all the merchandising that they've sold over the last 10 years of MCU to prove to them adults have the money and they're going to shell it out, not just for themselves, but also the children. So there's never been a blurry line there. So I don't understand why they would treat Black Panther. I mean, they did do a step better for Captain Marvel. I agree. It was a step in the right direction, but they could have done more. And we're seeing more stuff start hitting the shelves now.
Mm-hmm.
But I was snatching everything that I could find.
And what drives me crazy is, having been to the happiest place on earth and have finally been to Walt Disney World, as a huge Disney fan, as a huge Disney princess, because I'm a princess, yes I am, to see all of the adult-only branded stuff in Walt Disney World, Florida. So Disney knows firsthand that heifers over the age of 18, over the age of 40, over the age of 50, over the age of 75 show up with their money, their credit cards in hand, and buy all the things that are supposed to be branded for children, and it's adults buying it. So they already have the litmus test with the Disney princesses. They already have the litmus test with the, historical Disney films or Disney, animation that adults spend money for in their own, backyard by the hundreds of millions. It is a billion-dollar industry, and they know this. So why would you not think it would translate to your films? And once we proved it the first, the second, the third time, why do you continue to underestimate that audience showing up and spending the coin? They really need to reevaluate this, because what's going to happen is the off brands are going to continue to put out quality products, and they're going to make all the money. And you can't sue them fast enough. You can't sue the entire DeviantArt nation for making t-shirts and socks and shoes and glitter and jewelry because you didn't do it first. If your stuff was on point, we never would have went to this off-market, off-brand, non-authorized vendor. We would have come to you. So I really do hope that Disney has learned this lesson so we get better moving forward. Yeah. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
You good?
I completely agree with you. Like, they have, for the Star Wars, the new trilogy of Star Wars films, the sequel trilogy, they've had, Force Fridays. They're in September every year that there's a trilogy film that comes out. Like, I've got it marked on my calendar. I can't wait, because all this gluttony of merchandise is going to drop on Force Friday. Why can't that translate to a Captain Marvel? Yeah. I'm just as excited to see that as I am Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm perhaps more excited to see Captain Marvel. I want to get my kid a Captain Marvel doll. I want to have a Marvel t-shirt. I want all those things with the same passion that I want another tentpole franchise thing, like Star Wars.
And I had a boyfriend and 2 sons who were pissed off because it was difficult finding shirts for them to wear. And my son will wear a girl shirt in a minute. He was trying to take the damn Captain Marvel purse and wallet. And I was like, you don't put that shit down. And it wasn't because he was a boy and it was Captain Marvel wallet and purse. It was because each one of them was $35, and I just don't love you enough to spend $70 on purses for you. Get a job. But it was difficult finding shirts. So even from a perspective of it's not even about trust women to have enough money to buy female based or female forward things. It was have enough for the men too, because the men love the character just as much. So
because I couldn't find anything for my nephews for the little boys.
Mm-hmm.
And even something that maybe I could have translated as unisex from the girls, I couldn't do it. Couldn't find anything that I could give to the boys.
So my son just wore a girl shirt. He didn't care. He's like, I'm secure in my manhood, and he just wore it.
And he did. Should have saw us all at that theater. Everybody was rolling up. I was a little more extravagant and extra than everybody else.
I know. I saw the fits.
I took off PTO for this movie. Like, I was ready. It wasn't happening.
I mean, I took PTO for Black Panther. Like, and it's funny because the theater that I go to is across the street from my job. So I'm like, if y'all need me, just holler in the theater. I may not answer, but I'll be there. So, yeah.
Can I just hop back for a second and just say that I opened this show saying, hi, I'm Quinzel and you're watching Disney Channel. We just talked a lot of shit on Disney. I am genuinely afraid that Walt Disney's going to come out of his grave and bitch slap me.
He can fight me. I don't even care. What's he going to do?
We're not saying they're bad. We're saying do better, and here's how you do it. We're giving them the...
Which is correct, yes.
Disney
like to make money. They know how to merchandise.
Disney in 2018 got damn near $10,000 from me. So, Disney in 2019 is getting all the coins. Maybe not as much because I'm not going back to Walt Disney World this year.
Probably got about $2,000 from me.
Yeah. So they making their money. So at the end of the day, the almighty coin wins. But we get to be critics of, the organization that we've helped to make popular by saying do better. And that's all that we're asking for. We're not saying ditch them, boycott them. If somebody tried to make me boycott Disney, they would lose. I don't care what it is. People are like, Disney used to be racist. I just really don't care. It's not going to change the fact that I'm going to go see Captain Marvel and Tiana and Frozen 2, and it's just not going to change, But I get to be a critic and say, do better.
Yeah. Speaking of Disney, I read an article about how they're going to put all the movies in the vault in preparation for them to launch their own streaming service. Will you guys be signing up for the streaming service? Or
Absolutely, I will. 100% day one.
Day one. Like, I can't even.
Tidbit, if you didn't know this, because I didn't know this when I found out. Disney owns Hulu. Shocking. They own everything.
Really?
So if you already have a Hulu account, they're supposed to offer you a discounted amount, and it's going to be an add-on channel into Hulu.
That's awesome.
That's the plan. But yeah, hell yeah.
I am very excited by the Disney Plus content that they've announced and the possibility of other things that they could announce makes me very, very excited, because some things that wouldn't necessarily translate into a movie or wouldn't fit into the current environment that they've built would make a really good series and would allow them to flesh out other characters
or mini series at the least.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully crossing fingers that they will get our current shows from Netflix will find their home there.
Yes, please.
Based on that contract, seems like it'll be a possibility, because who would write that kind of contract if they didn't know Disney was going to come in and steal them? So,
well, and I think the other component to recognize, a lot of people are like, there's so much, you can call it piracy, free, stealing, whatever. There's so many ways to watch, branded content, for free, with various devices. We'll just say that. And so folks ask often, why would you want to pay for something like that when you can get it for free? But the truth is, you don't get it for free. And a perfect example is there are one of those, streaming devices or whatever. And right now you can't buy the Black Cauldron. So I was trying to explain to my daughter, the satanic film known as Black Cauldron that's by Disney. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, it's epic. It's where my goth comes from. And she, and so I tried to find it for her, through Netflix, through everything. And you couldn't find it. I was like, oh, well, maybe it's on one of these, free access opportunities. And it wasn't. If it's in the Disney vault and they give you 100% access to all of their stuff, you don't have to find stuff like that. So would I pay $19.99 a month to be able to watch whatever Disney I want, to expose other generations to their stuff? Yeah, of course I would, because their stuff's good. Then I wouldn't have to hunt it down.
But there's we already have Sling and Netflix. I can't see jumping on another subscription. And, I kind of knew that this was going to happen, that like each channel was going to break out and have their own individual thing once cable kind of got busted up. But this is kind of getting ridiculous. I can't have 50 subscriptions. I can't.
No, I get that. But I mean, like, at least with Disney, they're a big enough powerhouse where I'm like, it's validated. Because we're not just talking Disney movies. We're talking everything they own. So Lucas,
Yes.
Marvel, DreamWorks,
ABC, they own
Star Wars,
ABC.
all the Disney channels.
Yeah.
Like, if your kid likes Doc McStuffins and you can have every episode of Doc McStuffins that ever existed, I am here for that. I am here for that access.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and what I have been appreciating with a lot of the streaming services is you can have 4 or 5, or 4 or 5 devices attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for like our family, because it's a family plan, like my dad pays for our Netflix. I pay for our HBO Go because I have to watch Game of Thrones on demand.
Yes.
Right.
But and then my mom has the ABC whatever through DirecTV or something like that. So because it's a family plan, all of our family can watch it. So you just have to be strategic about how you do it. So somebody's paying for Disney, somebody's paying for Netflix, and someone's paying for Hulu. You're done.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So think of it that way.
To be honest,
and if you
I don't pay for cable either. So that's how I watch TV. Like, I've just gotten over cable just because I work too much. And in order to have something, it's going to have to be on demand. And I refuse to pay crazy amounts of money just to have on demand.
Right.
And the idea of watching live TV is just unrealistic. We work and we have too many other lives and too many other things to do in our lives. We're not cats. We only have one life. But we have too many other things. So no one's really stopping to even trying to watch things like their Grammys and all of that. It's too much. And I'd rather go to a Grammy watch party or an Oscars watch party where someone else is doing it. But outside of that, you don't really watch TV live, and if you're concerned about spoilers, you just stay off the, social media until you can see it. Or a lot of us have gotten to the point where we don't care if you spoil certain things for us. We're still going to watch it.
All right.
So think of it that way.
Okay. All right. Well, let's circle back real quick to Captain Marvel, to the biggest star of the whole thing, Goose.
Goose. I'm not gonna lie, I'm wearing a t-shirt with Goose on it right
now. when Goose showed him doing his thing, I looked at my husband. Yeah, his flirkinism. I looked at my husband and I was like, I want one of those and I want to bring it home and I want him to eat the cat. Like, it could be a complete battle of wills. Our anxious hive having weird ass cat versus Goose. It'd be great. I would feed him and love him. That's all.
Kimberly, I think you might be the one who has all the Carol Pops.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Have you seen the new Goose Flurkin?
I just saw that today.
Yes.
What? What is this? What?
There's two.
There's two of them.
Yes, they are the Funko Pops. They have regular Goose where Goose looks like a cat, and then there's Goose as Flurkin where the tentacles are coming out, and then I think it's the Chase variant of that. It's holding the Tesseract in the tentacles. It's amazing.
I see it. Oh my god, it's $11.99. Add to cart. That is amazing.
Which obviously I understand why that wasn't out for purchase.
Yes.
Right on at the beginning. That makes sense. Because honestly, I didn't know if they were going to go the Flurkin route. I really didn't. I was hoping, but I could see that being a little too fantastical. But I was hoping, Disney's done crazier in Guardians of the Galaxy. We might be able to swing a Flurkin.
and in the comics, isn't Goose's name different? It's Chewie.
It's Chewie.
It's Chewie.
Yes.
Which I love. Yes.
Because he chews. No, I'm kidding.
No,
I know.
Here's what happened. Because I read an article from the directors. Because I was, and honestly, even when I watch it now, I'm still like, why did they change his name? Like, I'm not mad, but I'm just like, this makes no sense why they changed his name. Even after hearing why they did it, I'm still like, it's not that deep. Nobody would have cared. But so she named her cat Chewie after Chewbacca because she's a huge Star Wars fan in the comics. Yeah, she's a giant nerd, which is another reason why I love her. But they said because that would place her in the 70s and a part of her backstory, they didn't want to like have that question what she was doing, like, and she was supposed to be in the 80s and Top Gun was a big thing, so they thought they would make that connection. Yeah, and I said that very limited, but that's pretty much the cadence of that article, which didn't make sense because I'm like, well, as a child, she still would have been a child in the 70s watching Star Wars. Like, I don't understand. Like, that was the biggest movie to hit. Everybody watched Star Wars, especially someone who's interested in going to space. Guarantee your ass she's going to go watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
Speaking of her as a kid, Kim, do you know any of the backstory with Carol and her dad when she had that flashback? Because that's what I'm just a little confused about. Is he just like a dick, or like do they talk? Do you know what I'm talking about? What scene I'm talking about?
Yeah. The go-kart scene?
Yeah, that one.
I thought that was interesting. And yes, and she has a very kind of love-hate relationship with her family in the comics. And a lot of it has to do with like what I talked about with Rogue. She was in a coma and she lost all her memories. So, but prior to that, she, historically from the comics, she actually grew up with two brothers and they were older than her. And what her oldest brother went into the Air Force and he was killed in action. Okay. And that kind of destroyed her father and he became a massive alcoholic and very abusive. So he was always telling her that she couldn't do what they needed to do because she was a girl. Like it went to that route. So she actually just kind of on her own when she hit 18, she automatically signed up for the Air Force. He flipped out and she kind of left her family at that point. And it's never been great. Like it's been a love-hate and her father just never recovered from the death of her older brother. But honestly, there's even been a recent kind of background into her life and it kind of retconned a couple of things about her backstory. Mm-hmm. He wasn't exactly nice even before her brother died. He could be aggressive and abusive to him if they were out of line. Okay. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, that's kind of why he's always been very, you can't do this, you can't do this. And that's been a driving force for her. And I want to say, if you have any interest in the comics, mm-hmm. I would say not only is the Captain Marvel stuff great, but there's the Miss Marvel storyline that happened in the mid-2000s, like right after House of M. That's a really great story to look into. And honestly, it shows that Carol was a massive badass before she got powers. There's this crazy thing where she got, which is kind of graphic, but she was doing a test run for Tony Stark on a plane, and she crashed in enemy territory. They took her hostage, and they tortured her. And how she got out of that torture chamber, like, broken arm and everything, she beat the hell out of these people. Broken leg, broken arm. And I was like, it's kind of graphic, but I was like, that's my girl right there. So, like, mad respect, because she's been a part of NASA security. She's been a part of the CIA. She's been a part of Air Force special kind of special investigative services. This is all before she even got powers.
That's awesome.
Wow. This lady is a badass.
Do we know about her mom too, or?
Well, I can tell you the new stuff about her mom because that's where they're going with the comics at the moment. So they just decided to do this, and I'm still trying to figure out why. But I think they did it because of how she originally got her powers in the comic back in the 60s was very misogynistic. Like, she needed to be the Supergirl to Captain Marvel at the time, which he was kind of the Superman of Marvel. So that was kind of where they were driving it, and they wanted a Supergirl, so they created Carol Danvers. But even when she had her powers, she really wasn't the same person. Like, she had a completely different personality. So there's a lot of mess in that late history. So I think they were trying to retcon it recently to kind of give her the ownership of her powers and her abilities, so that one, it wasn't because of this machine. It wasn't because she wanted to help this guy, and it wasn't because of him. She had this in her all along. This is all hers, and she owns it. She just didn't know it. So what happened is they retconned it, and come to find out, her mom actually is a Kree warrior who was sent to Earth basically as recon, and she had a mission, and she fell in love with her dad, and
The abusive
kind of
alcoholic?
yes.
Huh.
But they're kind of glossing over those details. Like, you'll see those details further away. Like I said, they're kind of retconning it, but you could still see he was abusive, and he had challenges with her being from outer space versus, like, it was almost like he looked at his wife as one person, and when she was the Kree warrior, she was another, because Carol thought he was having an affair on her. Come to find out, it's the same woman. So it was kind of weird. And then and I'll just ruin it, because it's really the most baffling storyline I've ever seen in a couple of issues. And it was like, what was even the point? Come to, like I said, she's a Kree warrior, but then she ends up dying. So, like, what was the point of that? But
Can we discuss Marvel and the gender swap of Marvel and how much I loved that?
Yes.
That was pretty awesome.
She was badass.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming at all, even though when they said Wendy Lawson, I should have known. But
No, I guess
after it happened, I was like, I'm an idiot.
That was.
Can we talk about how awesome it was Annette Bening?
I really
know.
enjoyed her.
I thought that was she was definitely a throwback. So I was like, oh my God, this is great.
She was awesome. She was like, what I don't remember the last time I've seen Annette Bening in anything. So
Yeah, you're right. I was, when I saw her cast, I was a little surprised, because I haven't seen any traction for her for a minute.
Yeah, she was so good, and you come to find out that she's just helping these people find a home. And, like, I got all teary-eyed.
Girl.
And we're like, hey, you can come stay with me in the dungeon. It's okay. I don't know what we're going to do with you. You're going to have to contribute to some household money or something. But
Leslie, you and I can't see movies together because Kim already knows I cry at everything. So I was crying. I was like, they were just trying to find a home, a planet. Everybody, all planets matter. Like, I was like, teary-eyed.
Let them live. And then, like, you come to find out that the, quote, good guys are persecuting these people because they don't want nothing to do with them.
They don't want to bow down.
Right. They just want to live their life. And I'm just like, oh, come live with me. It's okay. I'll fight them. It's fine. It's fine. This is stupid. I don't like them. Oh, and then the girl that was like, you knew all along. Is that why you didn't want to hang out? Nah, I just didn't like you.
Right.
Real AF. So real.
I lost my shit. I was like, hey, that's me.
She kept it 100. She was like, no, I just didn't like you, honey.
Oh my God, it was awesome.
Meanwhile, I'm over in the corner with the crush on Talos, just because I love Ben Mendelsohn so much.
He was great in that. Like, I honestly felt like he was more at home when he was in the full scroll makeup than he was without it.
He did such a good job. But the Australian accent was killing me. The Australian scroll, I loved it.
Oh, I liked when Fury was like, oh, it's just a scratch, and then they panned to him and he's like,
No.
The best meme I saw right after the movie was they took the scene from The Mummy where Brendan Fraser's holding up the cat and the mummy is yelling, and the mummy was Talos and Brendan Fraser was Fury. And I just absolutely lost my mind. It was great.
The internet always wins. Always.
Yes.
But I am kind of excited to see Goose. I'm hoping it's not the last we see of Goose, because I really want to see Goose meet Rocket. Yes. In the comics, that's how they found out Carol's cat was a flerken, because she's had this cat for years, and it was known to be didn't like anybody. And she ended up having to take the cat with her into space because nobody wanted to take care of it. And I need you to understand, she's got ride or die friends, and they were like, "Fuck that cat." She said that. She was like, "Don't be mad that you're in this spaceship because you're not nice to anybody, and no one wanted to keep you, except for the little girl. Like, there's only one child that the cat was ever nice to, and I feel like it has a maternal instinct for children, but." That's it. Didn't like anybody. And Rocket's the one that outed the cat, and he ended up trying to sell it on the galactic black market because it was the only.
He's like, I'm gonna sell the cat on eBay.
Oh my god.
So I want to see that. I want to see it. I want to see Rocket lose his shit over the Flurkin. So
I want to know what kind of Tesseract timeline we're dealing with. When did the cat throw up the Tesseract? Is that the only Tesseract? Are we dealing with multiple Tesseracts?
So
why would you ask that? Why would you ask that? That's why I want to know.
In the comics,
where your thoughts going?
In the comics, there are multiple cosmic cubes.
True.
So there's not just the one. So did Goose have one, and the one that contains the Infinity Stone that Thanos has, was that a second cosmic cube? Are we going to be dealing with time travel in Endgame? Are we going to be dealing with so many other things? Or was it just a fun end credit? So am I reading way too much into the cat threw up the cosmic cube?
So here's the thing. Here's the thing about that last scene. There's a couple of things that you need to know. Number one, the computer monitor.
Yeah, it changed.
No, it didn't. It was a CRT.
Thank you, Leslie.
It was an old school CRT monitor.
That's why we keep Les around.
Nerd.
But it looked different than the one he was typing out, you know, the Avengers Initiative.
Maybe that's true, but it's still a CRT monitor. It's still old as hell.
And that timelines it for when, Leslie?
In the 90s. That's still 90s, maybe early 2000s, but still mid to late 90s. Number two, his name thing on his desk, the N Fury. Now, I don't know how fast Fury rose through the ranks, but if he was a high-end muckety-muck, there wouldn't have been a name thing on his desk. He would have had a name thing on his door that was like Captain President, blah, 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 in Fury. Like, in my humble cube in my corner at work, it has my name. My boss, he ain't got one because he's got an office. That sort of thing.
Well, no, that's valid, because if he was going to have a name tag and he was director, it would have started with
director in Fury, or director Nicholas Fury, or director Fury, or something like that.
Definitely back then, you put your title in front of your name. So
exactly.
No, that makes sense.
So he was still low level at that point. Number three, where the hell is Goose now?
Okay. Do you want me to?
Yeah, go.
Because I just had to have this conversation with somebody else, because even they went way back and they were like, they didn't understand. So Cosmic Cubes, comics-wise, based on what I have read, the reason we have multiple Cosmic Cubes is because the Cosmic Cube is not the same as what they're using in the film. So they're using it as the Infinity Stone. That is not what it is in the comics, but they also, in the comics, they are known to actually be able to replicate it sort of like a synthetic man-made version of the Cosmic Cube, which is why there's multiple running around. I don't really think that's the case here. I think it's still the same Tesseract that we've always seen. One of the questions with one of Mecca's friends that I just answered was they had a problem with the fact that Marvel even had the Cosmic or Tesseract, let's call it that, in the first place. Like, how did Marvel get it? And I was like, well, the last time we saw the Tesseract, and I'm doing air quotes so no one can see me. It's terrible. But the last time we saw the Tesseract was at the end of Captain America: First Avenger, and Howard Stark picked it up. Chronologically, that would be the last time we saw it.
Yes.
We know Howard Stark was hugely involved with S.H.I.E.L.D., plus we also know he was hugely involved with Pegasus. So to me, I'm like, it's easy. He set up Pegasus. It was probably something that they wanted to investigate, so I'm sure having her come in, she being a scientist, she got it from the program because she was a part of the Pegasus program. That makes sense to me. Then, obviously, Goose gets it. But I also, there's a little gray area there, because I would be really concerned that no one could find it for 6 years. But I'm sure that somebody was looking for it, because it's a big thing to misplace. Because, Marvel has been dead for 6 years. Carol Danvers has been out on Hala for 6 years, not knowing who she is. So literally this cosmic, or I'm going to keep saying it now, Tesseract.
Sorry.
The Tesseract has been just kind of out in the wind. But I agree with Leslie. It's still in the 90s. He spit it up, so we know it's in the hands of S.H.I.E.L.D. because the next time we see it is
It's
actually
at the end of
at the
Thor,
end
right?
of Thor, which is in the remember what happened at the beginning of Avengers. They were at Pegasus.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's where so it's never left Pegasus. It's been there. And I think it's still the same thing chronologically. However, what we do know is that Carol gets her power from it. That was a big twist from an origin story perspective in this one. So that opens a lot of doors. Can she fight an Infinity Stone kind of in the same way that Scarlet Witch can? Will she be controlled because it's an Infinity Stone power?
Ooh.
Who knows? So that's going to open up some interesting doors.
Mhm.
Guys, I'm never drinking on this podcast ever again. Like, my mind is completely blown. I've never.
So this is what I
We
think
broke
about.
Quinzel.
Don't feel bad. Like, this is where my head goes. It's like a useless trap and cesspool of information that doesn't really help me in normal life. But when people ask me random questions like this, I'm like, dissertation. Like,
So
And then, or if you sit in our house, like when Kim comes over and we wind up talking, like if you're not a nerd like that, like my daughter will just leave the room because she's like, nope, I'm tapping out. Like, can't, because it'll be like 3 a.m. and we're still going.
so I got one more thing for you guys, and I want to know if anybody else noticed this. So when Carol and Fury sat down and she was like, you got to tell me something like that's just completely random about you, and he's like, I can't eat toast cut diagonally. Flip back to towards the end of the movie where he's making a sandwich. The sandwich is cut diagonally. Do you think that means anything?
Well, it's also when he eats a sandwich in Age of Ultron in Clint Barton's kitchen. He also cuts it.
But see, I've heard that. I have to go back and watch that because I've heard arguments that it's not diagonal; it's actually square. And I'm like, well, I have to go watch because
I think it's square. If I remember correctly from the clip I watched, I believe it's cut square. So are we dealing with a replacement Nick Fury at some point?
It's highly possible.
And then here's the thing: one of the green dudes was missing.
Scroll?
Yeah, one of the scrolls was missing because there were 4 of them total. One got killed and autopsied. There was the one that Jude Law killed when he realized that it wasn't Carol. And then there was the main one that we were dealing with the whole time. So where's that 4th one?
What?
So you're not wrong, Les.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. And just like we saw in this film with the Kree, there are good Kree and there are bad Kree. There are good Skrulls and there are bad Skrulls. A lot of people actually had problems with how the Skrulls were portrayed in this film because they're traditionally looked at as bad.
Mm-hmm.
However, that character, he's known for being good. And so I don't understand why people had an issue for that. But you're not wrong. And honestly, because they made such a point of introducing the Skrulls, which is kind of a big deal in the Marvel universe.
Secret invasion?
Yes, ma'am. I don't even know if if our heroes are even real, because in the comics there was this very religious zealot group of Skrulls where they went in and they scientifically enhanced themselves to mimic. Not only like they downloaded all memories, like they basically took the person they wanted to swap with, they genetically replicated them. They took all of their memories, which I kind of wonder, because they had that machine, I'm like, a further advanced version of this machine. And they basically created their powers. And they have been having these people in sleeper positions for a long time in the comics. And then once they were ready and they were in positions of power, they tried to invade. And at the end of the day, nobody knows who a Skrull is because they cannot figure it out. There's no like tracker, which I thought was really interesting that they didn't do in this film. They made it a point. There was no technology in order to automatically identify a Skrull.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Girl, in the comics, they had Obama as a Skrull. They had Oprah Winfrey as a Skrull. They had Paris Hilton as a Skrull. Not to mention all of the people in the superhero and villain world that were Skrulls. It was bad.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, no. And then one of the things that I saw in that super long nerd dissertation, which is why I actually don't think that Nick is a Skrull, or the Fury's a Skrull, is they spent like 10 minutes talking about how Nick Fury says nobody calls him Nick, and a whole Fury thing, right? And the setup for that, everybody's like, is, oh, that's how you knew in the elevator it was a Skrull. It was not Nick Fury.
Right.
Or, I mean, Nick Fury's, boss, whatever. Because everybody calls him Fury, and he didn't know this. So they went back and they, again, had way too much time on their hands and went through all, like, 19, 20 films, whether he was in it or he popped up in it or somebody talked about him even though he wasn't there, and everybody called him Fury. The only time that he has ever been called Nick in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is actually at the end of Infinity War when what's her face asks what's going on before everybody starts to fade away, and she goes,
Maria
Nick,
Hill.
what's going? Yeah, Maria Hill, and she goes, Nick, what's going on? And he goes, I don't know. I was like, oh, why did she call him Nick? Nobody calls Fury Nick. Like, I was like,
on the lamb, so maybe I don't know. I could. You're
well,
right.
now they're
I
doing
can
this whole.
also see. I could go either way. But I also heard somebody had a theory too that he kept his eye covered. So, like, in the fact that he didn't replace his eye with a glass eyeball, that he's kept it covered from now. So even if they replicated him from a DNA manner, no one's ever seen what his eye looks like because he keeps it covered all the time.
No, we've seen his eye.
We've seen his eye.
We've seen his eye.
Once. That was only Captain America, though. But they were saying that that's part of why he was very paranoid of keeping it, because he didn't want anybody to see it. So it was a theory.
Huh.
But yeah, but no, you're not wrong. There could be, because honestly, it wouldn't shock me since they've done Ultron, they've done Infinity, the Infinity Gauntlet. Would not shock me if they do Secret Invasion as their big next Avenger movies after this phase ends.
Huh.
I was
And who
excited.
knows, maybe if somebody dies in this and they turn into a Skrull at the end, that's the cliffy.
Oh my
Oh
god,
my
that
God.
would be amazing.
I need an adult.
I wouldn't take it a day off after that, because I'm like, I need my life. I have loved this one for so long, and it's a damn Skrull.
You take a personal mourning day.
Been
Death
like
in the family.
Yes.
Oh my god. Ugh. All right. Anybody else got anything?
I need an adult.
Well, I love the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, please go see the movie. Please put money into it.
Yes.
That was another thing that, like, why, like, and I will admit, like, I do enjoy DC, but I'm not, like, insanely involved with it like I am with Marvel. I've always been a Marvel girl, but I went to see Wonder Woman in the theater because I knew it was important. Just like Captain Marvel was important, because we have to wash the stain of bad storytelling that is Catwoman and Elektra, so that they can do better.
Am I the only person that liked Elektra?
No, I love Elektra, and I told her that. I love Elektra.
They can do so much better. Elektra is so much more of a complex character. So is Catwoman.
Poor
But
Catwoman.
they wanted dainty clothes, and they thought that that's how they were going to sell a movie.
If you guys want a good Catwoman novel, there's it's a young adult novelization by Sarah J. Maas about Catwoman, and it is absolutely fabulous.
Why does her name sound familiar? What else did
She's
she write?
A Court of Thorn and Roses. That's
Okay.
that author.
Okay.
But yeah, I read that earlier this year, and I got through it in like 2.5 days. It was amazing. It was so well done.
All of her stuff is.
Yes.
So I would just like to point out, I follow this amazing page called Box Office Mojo, and it lists out, or follows like box office sales. And as of today, the estimates for, or the gross for Captain Marvel's 266 million domestic, 494 million foreign, total $760 million worldwide. She's
Nice.
she's killing, she's killing the links list. Like, she's number 10 for origin hero. She's currently ranked number 5 fastest to $1 billion. Like, she's and what I like about Box Office Mojo is they have like every freaking nerd ranking you would ever want to see. Ever. They have it. And they update daily, and they rank where she is. And so I'm just super proud that she's 760 million and she's climbing every week. So
Very good.
Go see it.
Here's to opening the door for other possibilities. I am so excited.
All right. Well, that is our show for this week. Any links that we have mentioned will be in the show notes. I think that's it. Anybody else got anything they want to say?
I have nothing to prove to you.
Did we call out spoilers at the beginning? You might want to.
I'll do an intro.
Okay, thank you.
Let people know. Yeah, no.
Hi, I'm Quinzel, and you're watching Spoilers.
Right?
Yeah, there you go. All right. Everybody have a good week.
Go
hard in the paint. Thanks for coming out. Tip your server.
Tip your waitress.
Yeah.
Go see Captain Marvel again. If you have a goose, please let me borrow him so he can eat this damn cat.
I don't think that's allowed. Someone's gonna call PETA.
Fuck that cat. He's such an anxious asshole. All right. Bye.
Bye.